This is Luke Paulson, the Catholic Conservative, and welcome to the News of the Week for July 2nd, 2022. And if you enjoy these videos, do not forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe for more. Roe v. Wade overturned. Both Casey and Roe have been overturned as a result of the Mississippi case. Dred Scott was a Supreme Court decision that was the law of the land that was not overturned until the Republicans passed the 13th Amendment. Separate but equal was the law of the land until Brown v. Board of Education. Today, Democrats believe that they still have the right to control other people. This time, it is not based on skin tone, but on the age of the person. Democrats still believe that some people are property. The number of snowflakes that are freaking out is absolutely hilarious, but we need to be cautious. This is the same party that burned down cities over a lie about different men that were charged and arrested. They were willing to protest outside of the houses of justices, and one was even willing to kill a justice. These are the same people who are willing to firebomb pro-life clinics. My point is that there's going to be even more violence very soon, and we need to be ready for it. Right to open carry. New York decided over a century ago to make it difficult for a person that was under threat of attack to be able to defend himself.
They also told me I had to document threats against me. Fortunately, I could show them things like this. 52 days later, they sent me a letter rejecting my application for a carry permit.
The Supreme Court struck down the law and made it so that law enforcement must allow permits for open carry. Naturally, liberals are scared. After all, they believe that guns magically control their owner's mind and force him to kill people. Now, this is in New York, where they have some of the most strict gun laws in the country, and so the establishment will fight tooth and nail to keep people from being able to defend themselves. These are the same people who not only want to defund the police, but think that cities being burned to the ground is mostly peaceful. The good news is that this is the Supreme Court, and so the implications reach nationally. All 50 states will now have to start issuing permits. As a general rule, places with fewer gun laws have fewer gun crimes. If someone does try to start a mostly peaceful protest in your town, it might be a little easier to keep them away from your home or business. Church and state remain separate. When the Constitution and Bill of Rights were first passed, the churches at the time were scared. They were fearful of a state-sponsored religion that had been so dangerous that their ancestors fled Europe. Thomas Jefferson attempted to assuage their fears by assuring them that the wall separating church and state was one-dimensional. The church would continue to guide the state, but the state would not be legislating the church. About 2 centuries later, Lyndon Johnson tried to put a stop to this, but that is another topic for another day. I would like to talk about the third major ruling by the Supreme Court. A Michigan law forbade state funds from going to private schools. 2 questions should be asked first. 1. Should we have public schools at all? 2. Should there be state money going to any institution that is not associated with protecting the life, liberty, or property of the people? Either way, it seems that we are forced to evade these 2 questions indefinitely. Now state funds can go to private schools, even if they are religious schools. Granted, we have public schools that endorse evolution in millions of years on nothing short of faith, but no problems for the teachers' union there. The only reason that there is any objection to the money following the student is that the public schools and the aforementioned teachers' union stands to lose money and power, the right to pray, or to prohibit the free exercise thereof. This is a line from the Bill of Rights in regards to laws on religious freedom. The state cannot forbid someone from practicing their religion as long as they do not harm the life, liberty, or property of another person. Joe Kennedy was a football coach in Washington State that decided that he would kneel and pray after the games. It was not long before students wanted to join him. Soon, the other team joined in. Obviously, this meant that he was trying to establish a state-sponsored religion and had to be stopped. Yeah, I am having trouble believing that as well. He was forbidden from doing so and was presented with the compromise of finding a more private place to pray. Long story short, it ended up at the Supreme Court, where they ruled in his favor. The problem was not that he was praying, or even that others were joining him. The real problem is that it was a Christian prayer. If he had started to pray to demons such as Allah or Vishnu, there would be no problem. The forces of darkness hate Christianity with a burning passion. Maxine's Insurrection Plan. So, how is the same party that burned down cities over fake news going to handle court decisions that they do not agree with? Right after Justice Marshall ruled that the Native Americans had a right to live where they were, President Andrew Jackson said, "John Marshall made his decision. Now let him enforce it." Coming back to the present day, Brandon, Maxine Waters, and countless others have vowed to fight these decisions at every turn. I remember when the Roberts Court supported Obamacare as a tax, and not one mainstream Republican argued for overthrowing democracy or our republic. Attorneys in the states with so-called trigger laws that ban abortion outright as a result of this case have vowed not to enforce the law. In other words, killing babies is so important that they must do whatever it takes to kill more. Colbert breaks into the Capitol. The coup is not secret anymore.
Do your people believe in this cause, as you do? What they believe is of little consequence. What matters is that they obey.
Crystal Matthews is one such politician who wants everyone to follow her orders without question. Listen to this call obtained by Project Veritas with her talking to an inmate.
Find you somebody in your family that don't even know you donating to my campaign and put that under their name. And I still got to struggle to raise money for my campaign? Where the is my black people with money? I don't care about no dope money. Give me that dope boy money.
Not only is she willing to fund her campaign with drug money.
Like, we literally, like, this is the only way you're going to change the dynamics in South Carolina. You got to find some folks that are a little bit polished, maybe are not, nobody really knows them that well. Maybe they haven't really been politically active. But we need some secret sleepers. Like, we need them to run as the other side, even though they for our side. And we need them to win.
That is right. She wants sleeper agents to discredit the Republicans. She even knew that she was talking to an inmate.
This is a Global Tel-Link prepaid call from
Shango Mutuaf.
an inmate at South Carolina Department of Corrections, Perry Correctional Institution. This call will be recorded and monitored.
Aisha, as you know, got a big problem. I have a big problem. She has control of my page. She will say, I don't have control of it right now because I have this reason, because I'm a law-abiding inmate.
All that matters is power. Brandon Showers. We now know why Brandon's handlers sent the FBI to target Project Veritas. It was not just about making an example of them. After all, they did produce videos about what was supposedly the most secure election that ever took place. But being given a diary, supposedly from Brandon's daughter, was too much. While they did not publish the contents, we now know what was inside. Brandon has a history of being very inappropriate with girls and women in full public view. Imagine how bad he is when the cameras are not rolling. This diary shows that it is not due to senility, but part of his overall deplorable nature, even towards his own daughter when he took a shower with her. Brandon is going to get more and more senile, but he was a creepy pervert before that. Swimmers follow the science. The man now known as Leah Thomas broke records in swimming, because of his anatomy and physiology as a result of the changes during adolescence. A new ruling has been decreed in competitive swimming that requires a league for men to be separate from the league for women. The reasoning is simple. The changes that occur during adolescence create vast changes that make the competition unfair.
U.S. runner Allison Felix is an inspiration to me. She's the fastest female sprinter in the world. Her lifetime best for the 400 meters is 49.26 seconds. But based on 2018 data, nearly 300 high school boys in the U.S. alone could beat that record.
Granted, that was an example from track, but we see the same pattern in every single sport. Why are there no girls who identify as boys who try to compete with boys? The reason is that this was never about equality or gender. This was always about having an unfair advantage when it came to sports. If I had a nickel for every gender, I'd have 2 nickels. It's not much, but it's weird that liberals keep making up other genders, right? Brandon needs a script. I have said it before, and I will say it again. Brandon is an insult to America. He has to be told what to do, what to say, and what to sign. He has previously been given a list of who he is allowed to take questions from. Now his staff forbids him from taking any questions at all. It is even worse. Now Brandon needs a script, telling him exactly what to do. Let me zoom in on this image for you and read it off. You enter the Roosevelt room and say hello to participants. You take your seat. Press enters. You give brief comments. Press departs. You ask Liz Schuler a question. You thank participants. You depart. I guess if Brandon does not listen to the instructions going on into his earpiece and keeps saying the wrong things, he needs a written reminder of what to do. Financing illegals to waltz in. White liberals do not care about conservative minorities and are willing to push them to the side without apology. Ever since Governor Abbott started busing illegals to D.C., there are reports that illegals are no longer being dropped off in conservative districts. Remember not too long ago that the Democrats were using the Air Force to ship illegals all over the country. This is because the Democrats have been working on their replacement theory for a long time. Now we are learning that the Brandon administration is financing the illegals and their sponsors. It all comes down to trying to control the vote. However, considering that the Latino demographic is starting to lean toward the Republican Party, this may not have been such a wise idea. Even if they would vote Democrat, they might not be able to. How about a permanent holiday? Gas is incredibly expensive, as is everything else for that matter. That is what happens when you shut the entire economy down, regulate businesses out of existence, and shut down pipelines. Brandon is trying to get oil from Saudi Arabia, thus financing their terrorist operations and human rights violations. Now his handlers might have had a good idea. A gas tax holiday, in which we will not have to pay taxes at the gas pump. That seems like a simple, albeit incomplete, solution. However, it should be permanent. And we should put just about every other tax on that list. After all, taxation beyond the scope of protecting life, liberty, and property is theft. Ghislaine Maxwell sentenced. Maxwell was sentenced to a paltry 20 years. Why is the sentence so light? The same reason why we still do not know who Jeffrey Epstein's clients were. The same people at the DOJ that would be releasing the names are probably some of the names. Mark Middleton, like Jeffrey Epstein, was a Clinton associate. I guess since even more eyes were on Maxwell, there was no suicide. Those in power had to settle for a 20-year sentence for one of the biggest child trafficking rings that this world has ever seen in exchange for silence. Maybe I'm just blowing smoke. Maybe I'm completely off my rocker, but that is just my opinion. And if you enjoyed this content, do not forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe for more. And also don't forget to follow me on social media.